It's 7:30, and this is a regular scheduled Macedonia council meeting. And at this time, I would ask the clerk to please call roll call.
Ms. Darrow.
Here.
Mr. Engel.
Here.
Ms. Hannikin.
Here.
Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Ms. Tully.
Here.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to call on Chaplain Tom O'Brien to give us, or lead us first in the Pledge of Allegiance and thereafter prayer. Please rise.
Please place the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now please join me in prayer, gentlemen. Please uncover. Almighty God, we look to you for the guidance you gave our founding fathers of our blessed country as we open another working session of the Macedonia City Council. Their genius in forming this republic has made it possible to govern well despite our varied backgrounds and political affiliations. Watch over us as we continue to grow in understanding. Purify our motives and purposes as we make our mark in this world so that it may be a mark of excellence. Let us reason together on the issues and arrive at decisions as Americans, all by a majority rule, with the minority right to be heard. And during our deliberations, let us never forget those who gave the last measure the last full measure of devotion, that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain. Okay, we have a number of things on our agenda this evening, and the first item are the minutes of our October 22nd, 2015 meeting. Do we have a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented by the Clerk of Council for the October 22nd, 2015 meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is the financial report, acknowledging receipt of the financial report dated November 30th, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I want us to acknowledge the receipt of the financial report dated November 30th, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. We have a presentation here by the Vice President Hannikin to Council President Darrell. Or, I mean, is this what was going to be done, or do you? Okay.
No, you were right.
Oh, you want me to do it? I'll be happy to do it. Ms. Darrow, would you please rise, and I'm going to read something that was given to me to be given to you. And that's a certificate of congressional recognition and achievement presented to Rita Darrow in recognition of your dedication and devotion to the people of the City of Macedonia for your services as a member of City Council from 2012 to 2015. And it's signed by David P. Joyce, a member of Congress.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, before we continue with the public comments, I've talked to Josephine, and I've been asked that this would be, told this would be appropriate time to introduce for first, second, and third reading Resolution 165. And would the clerk please read it?
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second.
And I know everyone's supportive and saying aye. A resolution of commendation and gratitude to Councilperson Rita Darrow for her service to the City of Macedonia. Whereas Councilperson Rita Darrow will be concluding her term of office and service to the City of Macedonia this year. And whereas this is to recognize Ms. Darrow's wish to do the best for the city and its residents and businesses. And whereas Ms. Darrow saw fit to answer the call of public office, knowing the nature of the task she faced. And whereas the administration and council of the City of Macedonia, on behalf of the residents and the businesses of the city, wish to extend their thanks and appreciation to Ms. Darrow. Now therefore it be resolved by the Council of the City of Macedonia, Summit County, State of Ohio, that the Administration and Council of the City of Macedonia, on behalf of the residents and the businesses of the city, hereby extend their thanks and appreciation to Rita Darrow for her service to the city that she provided as a member of Macedonia City Council, as Council President this year, and formerly as Council's representative to the Planning Commission and the Cemetery Board.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that.
Wait, I'm going to let you have an opportunity to comment. You've heard the reading. What is your pleasure?
I move that we post and pass, or pass and post according to law.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a
Thank you.
motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion is carried, and now you may speak.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure serving you, and I'm not going to go away. And I look forward to the future, and I look forward to still serving Nordonia. I moved here in 1999, and I have poured my heart into helping people in this community, and I'm going to continue to do so, and I thank you, and from the bottom of my heart, thanks.
Mr. Mayor, may I say something?
Sure.
Although it's been a pleasure, not all times have been pleasant, right? But I want to say personally that I appreciate all your effort. I appreciate your enthusiasm, your dedication, and when you believe you're right, your somewhat stubbornness, which I think people on council need, and sometimes get criticized for, but I know that you did what you felt is right, and I wish you all the best luck in the future. And again, it's been a pleasure serving.
Thank you, Dave. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda would be then the a presentation, or I'm sorry, the comments by the public. And the first person on the list here is Carol Pleskovic. Carol, if we had asked that you step forward and step to the right side here, as we call it, our little mini podium, and give us your name and address, if you will, and we'll be happy to hear from you.
Okay, my name is Carol Pleskovic. I live at 814 South Ridge Road in Sagamore Hills. And I always take Valley View when I come to like the shopping center. And I was going to Walgreens on November 29th, and I passed the post office and passed that new church that's on the left. And then the street gets, from nicely paved, it gets in not so good. Well, I hit a pothole, and my tire went. And I had to have it repaired. It cost me $80. But I went to the police department. I don't know if it was that afternoon or the next day, and I talked to a very nice young policeman, and I told him what happened. And it is darker in there. There aren't any street lights, and it was near Melody Lane. And on Sunday, I went again, and I looked to see exactly what I had hit. And it was inside the line. I made a little thing. The pothole was inside the line here. Okay? So I did not go off the street, which I was afraid maybe I had done. But so I talked to the policeman about it, and I said, for myself, you know, I'd hate to have someone hit it and have to walk home, or, you know. But I went by Sunday to look, make sure, and there was one about this big and about this deep, and then there was another one that was maybe the width of a tire, or maybe a little bit more. But I kept checking during the week if they had fixed it, and it wasn't. But I came here tonight, and it was fixed. So thank you, Macedonia, for fixing that pothole so nobody else would fall in it. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Mrs. Pleskovic, we apologize for the condition of our streets. We realize that we need to get on top of that, and that's one of the high priorities of this administration. Thank you. Bev Sexton?
Good evening. My name is Bev Sexton. I'm on South Bedford Road. First of all, I would like to congratulate those that were elected and/or re-elected. Our hope is that with the new and former council members and mayor, the city can remain financially strong and all members are fiscally responsible with our taxpayer dollars. In reviewing the state auditor's report, it seems there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Secondly, Rita Darrow, we want to thank you for your dedication in working for the residents. We greatly appreciated your willingness to listen and work towards resolving issues that are important to us. We wish you success in whatever endeavor you choose, and we recognize your accomplishments and determination to do what is right for the citizens of Macedonia. Thank you for your service, Rita.
Thanks, Bev.
Thank you. Bobby Paul?
Bobby Paul, 1127 Thistle Ridge Drive. I'm afraid this is going to be redundant because everything has been said already, but I'd like to thank Rita for everything she's done for us these past years, the dedication you've shown, and also the dignity that you've always shown sitting behind that chair while being blasted. So I really appreciate that. And then another item, as far as, I did not attend your work meeting today, but I understand you talked about a line item budget. I deeply believe in a line item budget. It's totally transparent. I believe it's what President Reagan wanted all along. I'm not sure how far they got along with that. But anyway, those are my thoughts, and again, Rita, thank you, and Dave, and all the rest of you, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Carol Kucharski?
My name is Carol Kucharski. I live at 8126 South Bedford Road. Been in Macedonia for over 40 years. I viewed most of the council meetings for the past year on the internet. Sometimes I'm present. I was present at the last meeting, and I gotta say I was kind of appalled. Mayor Kukta had spent 12 years in service to our community, and everybody had their own agenda, and there was such anger and angst in that meeting. I think he deserved better. He didn't do everything 100%, and the angst wasn't directed at him, but he shouldn't have been subjected to that at his last meeting. He didn't do things perfectly, but he deserved better. The other thing is, before I retired, I was a nurse on a palliative care unit, a lot of emotionally charged times. And yet, when people got out of hand and there was anger, people had our backs. I gotta say, nobody has anybody's back here. I think that this is the time to start somebody calling time out. Council is abused, council abuses each other, and I think it needs to stop. Thank you.
Carol, thank you. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. We certainly need to start to work together and move the city in a direction that's in the best interest of the people and stop all this inner fighting. So I agree with you. And yes, we should recognize Mayor Kukta for the time he did serve this community and did a lot of good things for this community. You know, obviously nobody does 100% of what everybody thinks he should do, but he did a lot of good for the city, took and carried the ball for a lot of years, and I applaud him for that. Joe Scrupa.
Good evening. My name is Joe Scarupa, 8199 South Bedford Road, Macedonia. 38-year resident. I've seen a lot of changes in this city. Rita, I just want to thank you for your dedication and your service, looking out for the residents at all times. appreciate it very much. You had a good ear to listen to us, as some of the other people have said, and I concur with that. Good luck on your never endeavor, whatever that might be, and best of luck to you and your family.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
The other item I wanted to mention was the state audit report. I know this was discussed at the meeting prior to this meeting, and a resolution is on the table. It appears some of the comments that I heard, it may not have been totally clear on some of these findings and recommendations. And I know Mr. Mayor clarified these, that these are only findings and recommendations. But some of these are very disconcerting. If you haven't read them, this is all public information on the internet from the state auditor. And this is your tax dollars and my tax dollars being spent. So I think it's important that we all recognize what some of these findings and recommendations are. There was a positive indication in the meeting that they're going to resolve these. My point is, I think they need to be resolved quickly and with somebody outside of the council. Ms. Tully had recommended that we don't go forward because we're going to have a new HR and a new mayor and a new finance director. However, I still think it needs a good outside look. Anyway, let me read some of the items. If some of these, all of you may not be aware of some of these, but these are your tax dollars being spent in the wrong direction. Public records request. The city, let me read an example. Purchasing controls. For one bank credit card charge, the item purchased did not support the operations of the city. So you know what that means? Somebody charged something and it wasn't for the city of Macedonia. Somebody in this administration. Which was subsequently billed and reimbursed to the city. So it was not a city expense, although the city paid for it, because there was lack of documentation. So I don't know the amount of dollars. It's not available in this report, but I'm sure it's going to be found out, and based on the meeting earlier today, they're going to investigate that. Whether it's $500, $1,000, somebody's not following procedures. Another example, and this is just not coffee and donuts that I think Mr. Molnar might have referred to. It's much broader than that, sir. Certainly, that is much broader. There's one. 3 independent contractors providing various services to the city. There was no formal contract establishing the scope of work, the services to be provided, the evaluation of the services, and no specific dollar amount. Now, if I'm a contractor, I'd love that contract. $10,000, $20,000, let's go for it. That was issued to a contractor here in the city, your tax dollars, no matter what the dollar amount is. Another idea, one of the recommendations, finally, quote, finally, the city should consider disciplinary action for employees that violate the policies and procedures relating to non-payroll and credit card disbursements, including items purchased that do not support the operations of the city. I think we all want to have your dollar and your dollar go to the city, right? Well, this didn't happen. Let me read one other one. Now, this one's unbelievable. 6 restaurant credit card charges did not have detailed itemized receipts. So if anybody's in business, you know when you go out, you got to itemize it, you got to justify who am I taking out to dinner or lunch, whatever, making it difficult to determine if alcohol or other improper items were purchased. Now go figure. 6 credit card charges. Almost done. One other item. 6 credit card transactions had no receipt. The credit card bill was the only supporting document, making it difficult to determine if the transactions were for public use. So you get some idea of some of the abuses that have happened, and I think council is addressing that. Mr. Mayor is going to look into that. My suggestion is the one financial company that Mr. Mayor is going to bring in should take a look at this independently. When I was with GE, I had to approve every expense report, domestically and internationally. And a check was not issued until the accounting department double-checked my work and issued a check. And I think somebody here in this administration is not following the rules. One final item real quick. We talk about growth of the city of Macedonia. Instead of looking at brick and mortar, because we're running out of space, let's look at the growth in a very different area. The growth of character, the growth of aesthetics, the growth of safety, and how about making us a green city? I think on every ordinance, things that we do, new ordinances, new buildings, or even every retrofitting a building, let's make it green. There is money available under grants to make it a green city. Let's set an example for these other cities that are not green. The U.S. has set up, the U.S. Green Building Council has 12 steps to make the city green and make it sustainable. I would like to talk to the committee that's looking at future growth to bring up some of these ideas. I'm going to pass this around to City Council, take a look. But there are grants available if there's any issue with money. I think that'll set us to be the new Macedonia looking at the green community. Thank you.
You can hand it to Joni.
Yeah, that's your copy. You can copy it and distribute it at the end, please.
All right, thank you.
You know, the only comment I'd make as it relates to the recommendations of that last year's audit, which was 2015, is that it was a recommendation and not a finding or citation. I certainly am going to look at all the credit card expenditures and other expenditures of the city to make sure that they conform with our procedures and policies and that no one's in violation of those. We are going to have a 2016 audit here in the city. And when the auditors do come in, I certainly want them to review from beginning to end all of our books so that I know exactly how we stand in the city as the new mayor. So that will in fact occur in 2016. So thank you for your comments. Shirley Coth.
Shirley Coth, 902 Eileen Drive, and as some people have indicated their length of residency, we've been here 52 years in the same house. Our starter home, we never left. So the kids grew up and we don't need to leave, so anyway. But I just want to be redundant and thank Rita for her 4 years of service here and her dedication to not only the residents and their concerns, but to sticking with the charter and with the ordinances as written. And I think that sets a good precedent for what we should do on our charter and our ordinances, because sometimes there's a tendency to want to say, yeah, but you know, it's not quite like that, and maybe we should just go this way instead. And I don't think any of us want to see that. I really think that if it needs to be modified, then modify the ordinance and, you know, take it in a different direction. But if the ordinance is there, it's there for a reason. The charter's there for a reason. There was just a review. And I think that sticking with that is something that she did diligently during her whole time, and I commend her for that. The other thing, there was some comments, and I've heard this throughout the year, on the line item budget, and it came up again in the meeting tonight. I like the idea of a line item budget. And I think going back and looking at the reason that the line item budget was introduced in the first place would be a good thing to do before making any decision to change it to anything else. I believe there were things, for instance, when the departments could control, say, their bottom line and move things between lines. And it sounds like a good idea, and it sounds like, you know, something they should be able to do and so forth. But I remember one meeting in particular that there was a question about why something hadn't gotten done. I don't know whether it was the street striping or what it was, because it appeared that that line item had, or whatever it was in, had been spent down, but so had all the other line items. So somewhere that didn't get addressed properly. And that may have been the one trigger that said, you know, we really need to know if there's any money left and what money was there, how was it spent. So I think that, you know, maybe the auditors will shed some light on that, because I believe auditors like line items, but of course I would understand that from an auditing point of view. I would like it too. But before any thought is given to modifying that, I'd look at the reasons why it's like that and go from there. So anyway, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Julie.
you. Okay, then moving on with our meeting. The First item, we have some pending legislation that needs to be addressed, and the first item is ordinance number 125, 2015.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 125, 2015 for its third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance creating new chapter 182 of the codified ordinances of Macedonia, Ohio regarding municipal income tax.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 125, 2015 to be,
First, third reading.
Pass and post.
We're past all that.
the new mayor threw me off. Pass and post according to law.
Second.
I'll help you on that one. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Next item is resolution number 131, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 131, 2015 for its second and third reading by title only.
Okay, we have a motion, and do we have a second?
Second, I'm sorry, second.
We have a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
Well, she's gotta read.
Yes, she has to read it first. Then we can make it.
Then we can,
A resolution approving the mayor's removal of Scott Schwab as Director of Finance.
You've heard the reading.
And
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment. The amendment would be to change the first wherefore clause to read, whereas Mayor Kutka appointed Scott Schwab as Director of Finance, and whereas Mayor Miglerini has requested his termination in order to appoint a new finance director. The amendment would then continue and strike the remaining four whereas clauses and continue and amend section 1 to read, the council supports the termination of Scott Schwab from the position of Director of Finance by Mayor Miglerini forthwith.
second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend, and it's for its final version. So do you want to take the amendment first and vote on that? And we will. And all those in favor of the amendment indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried on the amendment. Motion to adopt.
I move that we pass and post resolution number 131, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and 2 seconds. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
We need a roll call.
You know what? Would you like a roll call? I think a
Yeah.
roll call. is-
Okay,
Do we need a roll
I'll ask
call
for a
on the
roll
first
call.
No.
You don't have to.
I mean, when you have no one opposing, but go ahead and do a roll call.
Do we need a roll call on both of them, Joe?
You don't need it if there's no opposition, but it
I
doesn't
think it's
hurt to
best.
have a roll call on
Okay.
either of those.
Ms. Hannikin expressed it, so. Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, the motion's carried.
You forgot Mr. Molnar, did you?
I said
You
yes.
got-
Yeah.
You missed that.
Just as a FYI, is that I've been out pursuing a new finance director. I believe I have found one. It's a person, a female. She's a CPA, and she has been in private practice doing city and villages and county audits for the state auditor's office for the last 25-plus years. She lives locally, and I'm excited about bringing her on. And we hopefully will have her on sometime in the first, after our next meeting and sometime in January. So next item is resolution number 131.
No, it's
41.
141.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, 141.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 141, 2015 for its second and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance making a fund transfer from the general funds to the law department to meet the obligations for the balance of 2015.
Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to remove the funds in 101, 150, 53, 45.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Would you like to adopt?
I can make a motion to pass and post according to law, ordinance 141, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have again a motion and a couple double seconds. Yeah,
Aye.
All right, let's just.
all, you want
let's
to do a roll
breathe.
call?
It's not me.
Okay,
It's just
it makes
everybody
it makes it
breathe.
go a little bit easier if you go.
Take a breath.
Just
Okay.
take a breath, and however you want to do it. If you want to do by voice vote, that's
Sure.
fine. Just breathe.
Okay, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. The next item is ordinance number 144.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 144, 2015 for its second and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance providing for the 2016 temporary appropriations.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move we pass and post ordinance number 144, 2015 according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is 148.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 148, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Summit County Public Defenders Commission for the representation of indigent persons charged with violations of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 148, 2014.
Second.
15.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item is ordinance number 149.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 149, 2015 for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a one-year contract with Julian and Grube Incorporated for certain financial services.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 149, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 150.
Yes, I'd like to offer ordinance number 150, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried.
Oh, it would help if I would rate it, huh?
Mhm.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor into an agreement with Continued Care Administrators, Inc. in order to assist and provide employers, with federal COBRA compliance for the year 2016.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Sorry. I move that we pass and post ordinance 150, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 151.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 151, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing and ratifying an agreement with Tri-County Employee Assistance Program.
Heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we authorize passing and posting according to law ordinance number 151, 2015, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 152.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 152, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance amending section 16020A and F of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia so as to ratify all right, slow it down. So as to ratify the current practice of funding employees' health savings accounts.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 152, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 153.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 153, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance appropriating funds and various transfers of funds for upcoming expenses as listed itemized below.
You've heard the reading.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance 153, 2015 according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 154.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 154, 2015 for its first, second, third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
An ordinance to transfer from unencumbered special assessment fund for the semi-annual payment for North Freeway Drive bond improvement.
You've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 154, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 155.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 155, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer...
She's got to read it first, Sylvia.
I'm sorry.
An ordinance amending the 2015 appropriations in order to fulfill the 2015 debt service requirements.
You've heard the reading.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 155, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is ordinance number 156.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 156, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried.
An ordinance authorizing a transfer from the Service Department account 2010, 2014, 5410 to 2010, 2014, 5500 to pay for additional road repairs caused by water main breaks.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
But before I ask for us to pass and post this according to law, I'd like to make a comment. Poor John hears from so many people, including myself. It seems every time we turn around, there's another issue with the water main break. I explained in one meeting that we fix it, we get reimbursed. However, the reimbursement isn't there the next day, so we have to pay to fix the roads, and then we wait for Cleveland City Water to reimburse us. And in one situation, we actually went a little further on fixing because the road beyond where the hole was in bad shape. So, you know, there's clear indication that we not only have issues with water main breaks, but we have issue with our roads, and that's another thing we'll still stay on top of in 2016. I'd ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 156, 2015, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 157.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 157, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance appropriating a transfer from the general fund to service department for the balance of funds needed for the renewal of the International Society of Arboriculture membership.
You've heard the reading.
I offer ordinance 157, 2015 to be passed and posted according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 158.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 158, 2015 for first, second, third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance appropriating a transfer from general funds to service department for the balance of funds needed for the December payment to A&S Animal Control Services.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 158, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. The motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 159.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 159, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance appropriating a transfer from general funds to police department account 101-210-5600 to provide funds for November prisoner meal expenses.
Okay, you've heard the reading. What is your pleasure?
I move we pass and post ordinance number 159, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. The motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 160.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 160, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
An ordinance appropriating a transfer from general funds to police department account listed below for the necessary repairs to police cruisers.
Heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor, I would ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 160, 2015, please.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments?
I think it should be made known this is $1,500. When you hear repair to a car, you're probably thinking more, but it's $1,500, which, thank goodness, it's only that amount.
Under the circumstances, we're very happy it's only that amount.
And no one was killed.
That's right. Okay, we have a motion and a second, do we?
Oh, we're over
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
We're
All
done.
those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
She threw me off when she asked a question.
Sorry.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is 161. You know, you get up here in a trance kind of thing. All these line item appropriations.
Mayor, I offer resolution 161, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
A resolution confirming the appointment of Anthony Cox to the Planning Commission.
You've heard the reading?
I move that we pass and post according to law resolution 161, 2015.
Second.
Okay. I just need to make a comment. There were a number of issues that were on the charter this year for passage. This was one that did pass on the charter amendment. This was taking and putting 5 electors in place of having the mayor and a member of council to serve on the planning commission. We have a council or a planning commission meeting that will be coming up in January that we will need to make sure that all of those seats are filled. And we only would have 2 members on the board at this time unless we were to pass these 2 appointments one after the other. This one here is Anthony Cox. He is a resident, lives in the villas of Terramina, and Anthony was a lifetime resident of Hudson, and he's an attorney as well as serving on the Hudson Planning Commission for 14 years, and I'm happy that Tony accepted the appointment to serve on our Macedonia Planning Commission. Having heard the readings, all those...
Is he here?
no, Tony's not here.
All right.
Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 162.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution 162, 2015 for first, second, third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law resolution 162, 2015. Oh, after Josephine reads it. Mr. Mayor, I've served on council with two other mayors, and I'm gonna tell you, you're running us hard. We're not used to it, but we'll get used to it, okay?
Don't you kind of feel like we're on this?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
got the hamster feeling tonight, but that's okay. Mr.
There you
Mayor
go.
must have a television show he wants to see.
I just won't tell you how many hours I've been here today, that's all.
Okay.
A resolution confirming the appointment of Joseph Schiavone to the Planning Commission.
You've heard the reading?
Second.
Second.
We're ahead of you
No,
now,
we-
Joe.
I think you have to make the motion again to accept.
Okay, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 162, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and again, similar to Anthony Cox, this is Joe Schiavone, and he's been a longtime resident of Macedonia. He served at one time on the Architectural Review Board. And Joe is a engineer, a structural engineer, as well as a P and a PS. What that means is that he's probably only one of 5 in this entire county that has that designation. Him coming to serve on the Macedonia Planning Commission is really great for the city. When I was the Director of Development for Summit County, I had appointed him our Chief Building Official for Summit County. So he's now coming back to serve here as the Planning Commission is a good thing for our community. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 163.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 163, 2015, for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion's carried.
A resolution confirming the appointment of Stacy Sugi to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
You've heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor?
If I may, before you go, I had the pleasure of meeting Stacy around election time, and I think she'll be a fine addition to the Parks and Rec Commission.
I mispronounced, it should be Suji.
Suji. Are you making a motion to,
No, I will.
oh,
I just,
I'm sorry.
I was endorsing.
he's
She's
not
gonna make
used
a
to,
motion.
you're off. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I would ask that we pass and post according to law resolution number 163, 2015.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Angela, this person will help make a quorum for the next meeting, because I think we're down. Are we
Yes,
correct?
yes, she will.
Okay, great. And unfortunately, Stacy's not here this evening, but I believe she also will make a great appointee on the Parks and Rec Board.
Yes,
And
I happen
with-
to know Stacy from the FAC Committee for the schools, and she's a very fine addition.
Okay, great.
You know, with the thinking that we've got to take a look at our parks and that it's really exciting to have new people join the Parks Board. You know, I've been on that board forever. So it's always nice to see new ideas, new thoughts, and new waves, because sometimes what we think isn't what really needs to be implemented anymore. So I welcome her, and we know we have another seat that we're going to have to fill, as well as we're going to have to look at one that's coming up for a 5-year. We're hoping that gentleman says yes and stays with us, so thank you.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 164.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 164, 2015, for its first reading by title only.
A resolution requesting an independent audit of the City of Macedonia conformance with established purchasing controls and proper public purpose expenditure requirements.
Okay. All right. Next item is motions and other legislative actions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the Office of the Clerk of Courts and Department of Finance to accept on behalf of the City of Macedonia a donation from from Joseph Miglerini for 2 Fire King 4-drawer letter fireproof file cabinets, each valued at approximately $2,049.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Are there any correspondence, Josephine?
Yes, Your Honor, I have one. I'm not going to read as fast as you talk. I can barely keep up
You
here.
remember, I used to be a choir director.
I do remember that very well. At least I forget. Okay, this is from Gunnery Sergeant Matthew Faust of the United States Marine Corps. It's a letter of appreciation. I want to extend my sincere appreciation for your unselfish execution and support during the Veterans Day Assembly on November 11th, 2015. And this, I should point out, is to, I believe, to the fire department. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes.
Your willingness to assist and honor area veterans allowed all the Nordonia students to better understand the importance of Veterans Day. You shared a positive reflection of your individual character, your department's character, and your devotion to duty and recognition by all. You have my deepest appreciation for a job well done. Again, Gunnery Sergeant Matthew Faust. And that is it.
Okay, thank you. As far as mayor's reports, got just really briefly, and maybe not as brief as I want it to be, but I'll speak very fast so we'll get through it. Sue and Shepherd, as you know, that's been down and closed for about 6 months now, or maybe even longer. And we had gotten bids back on that, and I find that the bids are something that I just don't totally accept, and I want to actually go back and do some valued engineering with the proposals. So today I asked the service department to go out and open up the street, and let's see what we have down there. So we opened up the street. We found that we have 2 disjointed culvert pipes that are going through. We're going to fix those. We're going to backfill, and I'm opening up that street probably by next Monday or Tuesday next week. We'll have it open.
Mid next week.
Mid next week, we'll have it open. So, and then we'll deal with the contracts for that particular project. The Ledge Road, by the way, will be open next week. The bridge that is going to be ground and opened, and we should have it open, I think, by Wednesday. That's the proposed.
But all this will be on Nixle, won't it?
I'm sorry.
This will all come out on Nixle, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, we actually, Chief, you have it coming out on Nixle, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we had a problem the other day. Those who got 4 messages, sorry, Nixle, Verizon, it's.
I was like, who's?
They say it's resolved, so yes, it's coming out. Thank you.
Lots of overkill.
Okay.
Are we repaving under the Ledge Road?
Well, we're gonna save that because I think by agreement, the 271 project is willing to pay for that repaving under there, but
Okay.
we have some other thoughts about putting some drainage along the inside wall sections so that when that drippy bridge continues to drip onto the pavement, it has somewhere to go and it won't freeze, and we want to make sure we crown it properly so that it doesn't throw vehicles against the wall. And so there's a number of
I just
concerns
say
that we
that's
have.
the one thing that I've heard from a lot of residents, that the actual problem under there is the terrible condition of the pavement.
Yeah, so that's why if we put some drainage down there, we think it
Well,
will
I
help
don't
cure that.
object, I think we need to do anything we can.
Yeah, and we were talking about doing concrete as opposed to asphalt as well.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
The Route 82 Shepherd Road is now open, and we are going to put, this Carvo under the state project there is going to then stop for the season, I believe, on Route 82. I'm not stealing your thunder, am I, Nick?
No, you're minimizing my report.
Okay, good.
They are going to be working on utilities on the north side, but right, the pavement's
The
going to be
pavements will
delayed
be.
until spring.
But they won't have to close down the other side of Shepherd Road at this time,
Correct.
so we'll clearly have
Correct.
Route 82 back to normal, or for the most part, as normal as possible. We are still working on the church, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and the retention basin, and we're again doing some valued engineering in that project to try to bring the cost down as well. I've met with the church, we've got our agreement in place, and we're ready to move forward on that project.
Can we have a meeting with the residents that have their yards abutting that property? Because I've gotten questions from all of them, and it'd be easier just that we invite them and they can come in and take a look at it, because I know some of the downstream people may be impacted positively, and depending on where their house is located, some may actually, we've lost a lot of trees back there, shall we say. But
Okay.
that way, we can answer all of them, because I don't know the ins and outs, and it'd be better just to talk to all of them at once.
Are you referring to just those on Longbrook? or are you talking about?
Berkshire and
And
all.
Berkshire, oh, so
Yeah,
all of them.
because Berkshire, actually, all of us purchased the property that goes right up to Guadalupe, and the pipe that's there now has taken out. It is at the end of my property, but it impacts the neighbors and down to Jean and those people on Longbrook. And I think it'd just be good for them to see what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that one that was proposed originally was going to cost about $230,000, and now the last estimate I saw was over $560,000. Is that what you're talking about, relooking at how the proposal?
Well, I think the engineer's estimates, as I understand, is around 380,000, and I want to, again, do some valued engineering as it relates to that and then the contracts that are on it. You know, I sometimes look at these numbers and they stagger me.
Well, I know
From being
that
in the
one
private
staggered all
sector,
of
when
us.
I know what I can do on projects, those kind of numbers just
Well, we'll see.
kind of put me over the top a little bit, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm reevaluating them.
Okay.
Well, if you're reevaluating something, can I make the suggestions that I've been dying to do for a long time? Route 82, at Speedway there, it should have always had a right turn in and a right turn out, and let's get rid of them cones on 82, and I'd like to take the first one out.
Well, those are coming down as a result, as you know, once the bridge is
The
done,
freeway's done.
those are coming all down and as they widen, so all of that, all the delineators are coming down, they won't be there very much
Those
longer.
all part
Thank
of the long
God,
range.
because those things are just a terrible eyesore, and I think on planning years ago, when Speedway went in, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. They should have put a right in and a right out for Speedway.
Okay. That pretty much, I'll probably think of something else after, but that's as much as I have for mayor's reports. Committee reports, do we have any?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. We had a Finance Committee meeting on November 19, 2015, reviewed the current budget. The RETA revenue is coming in at the projected level by the RETA folks. I would say that we're likely to be in at about 8.5 million in income tax revenue, which is a very good result. Year-to-date fund status and projected carryover was discussed. That's a little bit variable because we need to know what the final expenditure pattern will be. I noticed in our latest report that we still have over 2 million in carryover, which I anticipate will be somewhere around that number when we're at the end of the year. We discussed there's a specific tax revenue, permissive license tax that we needed to reapply actually to Highland Road between South Bedford and Route 8, the repair we did. And I'm not sure of the status of that, but I think I will just wait until we get a new finance director here. Capital budget execution and status, you've addressed it because there were a lot of questions about how we were going to deal with some of these very large numbers, but from Guadalupe and on Sioux Lane. We did discuss the temporary budget and reviewed certain items there, and in general, I thought it was very productive, and I have a recording of it, which I'm posting, so that's all I have to say.
Okay, any other committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to announce that there'll be a planning commission meeting Monday, December 21st at 5:30.
Mr. Mayor, we had a Parks and Recreation meeting. However, I'm going to defer, and Angela's going to cover what went on in her report.
Mr. Mayor, we had a JED meeting on December 2nd at 6:30. Still talking about the land mass, the pile of dirt that was in question from years ago. I guess we had internally taken care of that, spread it around, and thought we had appeased the Army Corps of Engineers, but they're still not happy, so I guess there's still a little bit of work left there to do. I think John could probably touch on that. Did you have a part of that?
I worked on that project at the time, but have not been told what was not to their liking. We kept everything within the silk fence that they put up.
I think the issue is that it takes so long for them to come out and inspect. I think there was a long passage of time, I believe 2 years, before they came out and inspected it. So we're kind of at their mercy. And I also asked the attorney that was here, Mark Cadetti, if there was some type of statute of limitations, and unfortunately there's not. So we're at their mercy to resolve that issue. And God, I remember that from 8-10 years ago. That's still going on. So I think we're close to resolving that completely. Also talked about a Meyer grocery store in the JED. Right now, I think it's just conceptual. There's a lot of different things going on with that, with the placement of it, where it would go, and the properties in Northfield and who that would affect. So right now, I think it's just a conceptual thing, and we are not moving forward on that as of yet.
Nick, there was a planning meeting, over at Northfield, Center there for that Meyer, and also, I'm not sure if they talked about the gas station or not, but, they did have a planning meeting. Do you know anything about that, Joe? On the 9th, correct?
Correct. We had a representative there from the city. There were, obviously, it was just a public hearing for the residents that live both in Macedonia and those that live abutting where they want to put this project. This land runs from almost Route 82 behind Aldi's all the way down to Valley View Road. This property was zoned OC at one time as open conservation, and now it was rezoned by the trustees some years ago to R1. And Spitzer owns the property and is asking the township to rezone the land to a C1, which would be a commercial use. So it's really in their hands. We had a presence there because we are concerned with what impact it will have upon our city. So we are going to stay in touch with this project and continue to monitor it. There are some properties within that area that are ours. They are not showing any proposed development within those areas, but they're talking about detention basins within that area. So.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, they said that this may get annexed to Macedonia. Is that true?
I have not had any conversation with anyone as it relates to any annexation or any agreement to put it within the JED. We had, as you know, at the JED meeting, that was a minor discussion about whether or not the township, if it does get rezoned, whether or not they want to put it into the JED. Obviously, for tax advantages for the township, it would be obviously better to put it in the JED because otherwise they lose out on the payroll and income tax.
Right.
Another discussion along with that was there's a lot of stormwater issues behind there, so those are some things that they wanted to address in terms of a retention or detention basin back there too. So.
Okay, thank you. Department reports. John?
Thank you, Mayor. Evening, everyone. Leaf collection has been completed. We finished on December 4th. 4 complete passes. We did this with 2 machines this year. Previous years, we tried to have 3 machines out. The guys worked their tails off. We worked every available day that we could. I'd say 70% of it or more was our responsibility. The other was the weather. I mean, this weather's been fantastic so far, so it allowed us to get out there every day and pick everything up. And thank you to the residents for complying with the way the piles should be put out. It made our jobs easier, faster to get on down the line and pick up everyone else's along the way.
I know I'm not supposed to say anything, but I forget where I was, but some residents have put their piles right in the street. So we might want to take a pass through the city.
They shouldn't be there now, are they? They're there now?
Yes. In the street.
Well, now we need snow so we can knock them back into the yard. Chief, get on that.
That was cute.
We put also, I'd like to thank some residents who put articles in the newsletter and also left voicemails up in the machine for complimenting Memorial Park with the Christmas decorations that we put up this year. We're very proud of it. It's the first time we've actually been able to do a decoration up there. It's the start of something that we'd like to keep continuing on and actually spread it out throughout the city a little further, decorating 82 better once construction is completed, taking it to City Hall and even the rec center. But this is all just plans in the making, and I just want to say thank you to them who reached out and compliments. It means a lot to us. Put a lot of effort into that. And like to talk about weather, where is the snow? We have trucks sitting in our garage ready to go, and I'll take this any day. I'd rather have them sitting there. I agree with you, but we're waiting on the snow. But with this weather, it's allowing us to go out for pothole patching now that leaves are done, and we're still doing stormwater projects. 3 catch basins so far this week are being repaired, and working on Sioux as well, and others will be following as long as this weather keeps cooperating. And that's all I have. Thank you.
John, did you want to talk a little bit about the Veteran Memorial and just update everybody on that?
We did have a meeting with veterans to discuss the park. We are coming up with a layout, a detailed architectural plan of the park before proceeding, so we can all get together and discuss our plans, how we want to see this park formed. So before we can just say, okay, we're gonna put this here and the cannon over on this side, we wanna have detailed drawings and everything laid out so we know exactly what we're gonna be doing.
And after talking to the chaplain tonight, there's going to be a way for public participation. He and I've talked about the fact, is there a way to honor specifically people within your family? They're going to be announcing something at their Christmas party, which I believe is next weekend. So stay tuned.
I think that all of them are working very hard to get this done, and I think it's really going to be definitely an attraction on that corner there, so it's really going to be nice looking. So,
John, I'd like to compliment you on the leaf pickup. It was impressive that we don't have snow on top of leaves this time of year.
Yes.
And thanks to the service department and Brian Schumann in particular, I know is involved in that beautiful display out there
Yes,
at
he
Memorial
was.
Park for
Yes.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Nick?
Thank you, Mayor. Your excellent summary on the capital projects has reduced my report to one project, and that's an update on the ledge and North Bedford drainage study. The modeling is done, the survey's done. We've gone through and run some analyses and some potential proposed projects through that model, and I think we've refined it to 1 to 2 options. We're currently working on the cost-benefit analysis of those options, and we will have our draft report submitted to you shortly, although based on the Sioux project in Guadalupe, I may be a little bit reluctant with these numbers. They're a little bit bigger. Actually, Ledge Road, I do have one more thing to add. It may seem insignificant, but through the retrofit project, we were able to get additional 6 inches of roadway width. It may not seem like a lot, but it's pretty tight under there. With the abutment work that was completed, the railroad had intended to provide us with the road as wide as it was before they went in there, but they were able to provide an additional 6 inches, so that'll give you a little bit of room for your pavement and your drainage. And that's all I have.
In fact, John and I were talking that we're going to put a car and a truck in, and then we're going to take a picture to see how.
You may have 2 10-foot lanes under there.
Yeah. So, Angela?
Thank you, Mayor. As Jan mentioned, we had a Parks Board meeting last Wednesday evening, and one of the items we've been working on very diligently is a community survey that we want to have ready to be presented to the community as a whole. We've also gotten the mayor's input on that as well, so we are going to launch the survey the beginning of January, so you're going to start seeing advertisements and promotion for this. We want the community's input on where they'd like to see the recreation amenities in this community go moving forward. Many of you got up and spoke tonight, and you mentioned how many years you've been in this community, so a lot of you probably can recall when the rec center, the concept of the recreation center came to be in the first place, and believe it or not, that was almost 20 years ago. So we are at a point where we're looking to move forward, we're looking to grow, and we want to see what everybody wants to see next. So we ask that everybody, look for that survey. We want everybody's input. You'll be hearing me talk about it a lot, and you'll be seeing it advertised out there a lot. So I just wanted to put that out there tonight. Also, we have our holiday camp coming up, so if you have school children who are out on their Christmas break from school, we have all-day camps at the rec center available on all of their days off. So December 21st through the 23rd and the 28th through the 30th. You can sign them up by individual days, so they will come. We have activities all day, swimming, all kinds of fun things for them to do if you'd like them out of the house, or if they need supervision on their time off. And it also seems really early, but with the weather we've been having, I'm announcing our spring registration for youth soccer is opening on January 2nd. We're not going to have another meeting between now and then, so I thought it was worth mentioning tonight. It doesn't start for several months, but the registration does open, and people do like to get into that program rather early. Lastly, we have holiday closings for the rec center, so I encourage people to view our website or like our Facebook page just to know our special holiday hours or holiday closings coming up here between now and the end of the month. So And again, since we won't be meeting again, we wish everybody a nice holiday season, and we'll see you back in January. Thank you.
Thank you. Claudia?
I do not have a department report, but this is my first council meeting, so for those I have not met, I'm Claudia Dillinger. I'm the Human Resource Administrator for the City of Macedonia. You probably won't see my face too often. My role is a little more internally, as working with the employees in the departments, but it is a pleasure to be here tonight, and if you're ever in City Hall and want to stop by and say hi, my office is on the second floor. And I also want to say I've had several meetings with the mayor in the last couple weeks that he's been here, and I really look forward to moving the city forward as well. So thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you. Tim?
Thank you, Mayor. On next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, we have our Santa delivery. So you'll see fire trucks out. Please be cautious going around them. We'll have lights and sirens going. So be cautious going around. Kids like to come running out to the trucks. So we have a vehicle in front and a vehicle behind to notify the residents to come out in case the weather's bad, but it looks like it's going to be pretty nice. And then also, we surpassed our record year of 2013 last week. In 2013, we had a total of 1,541 calls. We surpassed that last week, so we're looking at a record year. We're already into a record year and having probably over 1,600 calls, so very busy in the fire department. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Chief?
Most of my stuff has been covered also. South Shepherd open, obviously. Ledge Road gonna be open soon. Sue, I was there with John, and it's gonna be a wonderful thing for the safety forces to get through there also. The one thing that wasn't mentioned is Signal Service has finally found the break in the interlink, and for folks who aren't aware what that is, the traffic signals down Route 82 all communicate together, and they help the traffic flow from one end to the other end. We've been getting numerous complaints that we should have a policeman out directing traffic, doing this and that. The break has been found. They were out, I believe, today working on it, so hopefully that will be fixed. A lot of people believe the reason for the backup is Ledge Road being closed and a lot of the folks coming down. That's not it. The signals at North Bedford and South Bedford drift out of whack, and when they're not communicating, that's why you get the backup and nobody can come off North Bedford. So hopefully it was fixed today. I'm not sure. I still saw a backup on North Bedford, so I think they have additional work. I know it's a bigger project. The estimate was quite substantial to get it fixed. We're hoping that Ohio Edison pays this bill because they're the ones that broke it when they sunk a new pole for this project. So I know John and I are on that, and hopefully it'll be fixed soon and traffic will flow east and west a lot better than it does. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. You just brought something else to mind. As I did meet with the superintendent of schools, and we've been talking about a whole lot of good things, security in the schools, what have you. Also, we're talking about South Bedford and the turning lane onto Highland Road there. And obviously, it's very tight over there coming out of the school entrance, which is the most southern entrance, and looking for other means of exiting out onto Highland Road, especially at times where school lets out or there's games or what have you. So we're working very closely with the schools and trying to find a remedy to the problem. We think we have one, and I'll be keeping you informed on that. Thank you. Joe.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I want to welcome you to the dais and wish council and everyone here. This is, I am so tickled to see a council meeting with such cordiality tonight. I really think this was wonderful, and this is the way the city's business should be done. It should be done with respect and doing what's right for the people. Rita, I want to wish you a happy new year and the best in whatever your endeavors are, and all of council and the citizens. I want to wish you all a happy new year, as well as all my colleagues in the various departments.
Same to you, Joe.
Thank you. Towards that same cordiality, I hope that, over the years, only a few times I've had to try and intervene when council folks get involved in things they aren't supposed to. I want to remind council that when we prosecute people, and our prosecutor, Myra Severin, is at court, she's doing that on behalf of the citizens of this community and on behalf of those who take an oath of office. to support our ordinances and our codes. Unfortunately, she's written me a letter that's very problematic for me. She was prosecuting a case started before the election, and Sylvia Heineken showed up at one of the pretrials for a criminal defense matter, and the criminal defense lawyer has since become very testy with her, challenging her authority, challenging whether she has a conflict. All of this while consulting with Councilperson Heineken behind closed doors. So I need to remind council that you are also representatives of our city. Council controls yourselves. You may want to look into this, and hopefully the council persons will not involve themselves further in any of our prosecutions, because our prosecutor, our police, they're doing what they think they took an oath of office to do. And each council person also has to do that. And you cannot interfere with your law enforcement. I have done this with friends on council in the past. I've had to tell them several times, and publicly had to do it. So let's hope that it doesn't go any further. This case should take its normal course with no interference by any public officials in its due course. And with that, Mayor, congratulations on running a great meeting, and I'm glad you talk fast.
Thank you. I think we did it in ample time. Thank you. Any unfinished business?
Mr. Mayor, I said this at the last meeting, I'd like to say it again. I'd like to thank Rita for 4 years of serving. It's not always easy to come in here when you have other things in your life going on, but dedicating yourselves to the residents, as well as it's the holiday time. The next time you see us, it'll be after the first of the year. So happy Hanukkah, happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Spend time with your loved ones. Spend time with your friends and your family. That's what the holidays are all about. Remember that it's remembering why we're here. We're here for each other as well as ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other unfinished business? How about new business? Is there any new business of council?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second to adjourn. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ms.
Motion
Darrow
carried.
would like a roll call.
Would you like a roll call? Okay.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hanneken?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner? Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Do you watch them? I do. It's like,
Well, did someone come in like undercover or something?
you give me a work time?
Yes,
You need information from me about me or whatever?
yes. Well, between now